Hello everyone, I'm enjoying the sun. Can you see it in the background? Absolutely gorgeous. Had to get a shot in. And I'm also by the river. There's a lovely birds in the river. Lovely background for my video today. So I wanted to talk about having children. You know, when people have a relationship, they sometimes forget to talk about children. And after they've got together, married or whatever it is, they realize that one person doesn't want children and the other person does, and then that's what causes a breakup. There's also another situation where people live together for a while, then after a few years decide to have children, and they don't really discuss it in depth. They really think that because they've been together for a long time, everything's going to be fine and dandy. And a friend of mine actually realized this. She had a baby boy, and right after the baby, her husband didn't look after the child. He didn't think that was his job, even though they'd been together for 6 years. So she's been struggling on her own, and she already is thinking about parting, basically not wanting to be in that relationship anymore. And the baby's only a few months old because she's struggling. Had they discussed this ahead of time, who's going to do what, they wouldn't be in this situation. So that's unfortunate for her. And also another situation is when you've had your children, are you expecting grandparents to look after them? Do you think because they're family or perhaps another relation that they should automatically take on your children? And I would like to just give you a straight answer to that, is that no. They're your children, they're your responsibility. If you decide to leave them with the childminder, that's up to you. And if that happens to be family, that's fine too, but they shouldn't be taken for granted. If you can pay a stranger to look after your kids, you can pay family as well. Secondly, the children are your responsibility. And if family members don't want to look after your children, they're not being mean to you. They're just enjoying their life. For instance, if parents have already spent their whole lives raising you, and now you want them to raise your own children as well, why should they do that? Don't they deserve a break? Don't they deserve to enjoy their lives? So I think that's very unfair for people to think that because the person you're thinking of having basically to look after your children, the person you're choosing, they may be related to the child, but they are under no obligation to step in and help you out. If they want to, that's great. That's absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure you need the break as well. But don't get upset, and don't also put it on others to take on your responsibilities, because they are your responsibilities. And these things you should have thought about, before you had children. And I know it's easier said than done. But those of you that haven't had children, it's good to actually be in that environment, for a certain amount of time, and see what what needs doing, and are you up for it? If you're not, then don't get into it. And I know that's not how it works, but that's where babysitting actually comes in handy, because you can actually find out what's involved in looking after a child. And remember, babysitters go home. You won't be going home if you have a child. You'll be stuck with that child 24/7. So you really have to be fair to yourself, be fair to your child. And I know we all need a break, but you shouldn't rely on people, friends or family, to take on looking after your children. If they don't want to, be upset about it. They have a right to say yes or no. It's not easy looking after children. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, effort, and only you can do the best at that. Sometimes people aren't willing to do that, and you leave them with a dodgy babysitter and they don't treat the child well, and you'll never know it, because sometimes children are young and they can't speak yet. So all of these things you have to consider, and also when it comes to work, what's most important, looking after your child, leaving them with someone else so you can go out to work. I mean, if you're a 2-parent family, you should be able to manage on one income. You don't have to splurge, waste your money. So these things you have to think about. Um, are you spending your time wisely? Are you thrifty with your money? And I think we sometimes take it for granted when we have money. We can just splurge, we can give it away, we can pay babysitters. But our children need us. Never be guilty to stay home, look after your child, because that's your responsibility. That's nature's way. A child needs its mother, it needs its own mother's breast milk as well, which is very, very healthy for a child when they start out in life. So, all of these things you have to consider when having children is, first of all, do you want children? If you want them, who's going to do what? How are you going to share the responsibilities? And actually, I would say it's good for both people, mother and father, to be around a child, to know beforehand what it's like, what's involved in looking after a child, so you can practice. Because that will tell you how much the other person is willing to pitch in. Because if they're not at that stage, then you'll be stuck with that child like my friend is. And I feel so sorry for her. She's such a lovely girl. And she's stuck with that child. They've bought a house together so that, it's not going to be easy to part. She doesn't want to leave him. And she also works as well. So, I mean, what kind of situation is that for the child as well? It's really hard because the parents have to swap. One goes to work, leaves the other one with the other parent, and vice versa. And both of them are basically part-time hours to make it into a full-time job. And neither of them want to take full responsibility for the child. I mean, the mother has to, she has no choice. But it would be good to get a break, because women go through a lot when they have a child, physically, their body. They're in pain, they're aching, emotionally, mentally. It's a lot. It's a lot for a woman. And I don't think you can relate to that unless you've been through it. So it's good to get someone who's compassionate, caring, where she wants to help you out. All right? That's my message for today. Thanks for listening. Bye.